actual income on housing, which isn't the ideal way to go. And then another important stat I wanted to share is that about 79%, in 2015, about 79% of shared units were renting below $1,500 a month. Jump ahead to 2024, it dropped to 48%. So basically what's happening is people are getting squeezed out of being able to rent places for $1,500 or less. The affordability rental supply is disappearing while housing costs remain a major barrier for Tampa households. As I'm sure most of you can attest, rent in Tampa are pretty high, right?
Yeah.
So now the traditional playbook is getting a lot harder, to do rentals. You got multifamily rents are under pressure as new supply enters the market. Insurance, rising costs, property taxes, financing costs remain elevated across the region. And then investors can't rely on appreciation or rent growth alone to make it work, right? So single family rentals remain resilient, but renters have more options. The biggest stat to pay attention to is the 10.7%. Tampa's rental vacancy as of March 2026 is the highest level in Turnkey's tracking history for Tampa. I did some research back in 2025, just a year ago it was only 9%, but it just keeps getting higher and higher.
10.7% right now?
Yeah.
In Tampa?
That was as of March.
Hillsborough County?
No, this is for the whole
Tampa
market.
City, the whole, okay. That's huge. Okay.
So enter co-living as an option or solution. What PadSplit actually is, it's a marketplace that has an operating platform that lets you rent by the room instead of renting as a whole unit. So think of like if you had a single family home that's like a 4-bedroom house. Instead of just renting that out to one person or one family, take the 4 rooms, get rid of the common areas such as living rooms, and then turn into 6 individual rooms to rent out. So now you're renting out 6 streams of income versus just 1. For the members, you have a private bedroom, it's furnished, and you get everything under one payment, all inclusive utilities, basically at a fraction of the cost for like a regular 1-bedroom US apartment. Now for hosts, PadSplit handles the listing, the screening, rent collection, and we do 24/7 member support. So we do a little bit of the lifting up front, so you don't have to do some of that. Now, I will be honest, you're still going to be a host, and you are the property owner, so you are involved with making like maintenance costs, dealing with cleaning costs, and stuff like that. So you're still the property manager. PadSplit is not the property manager, but we're definitely there to assist you. So one big thing about PadSplit is the mission. Atticus LeBlanc started PadSplit back in 2018 out of Atlanta. We've now grown more than 30, we're in more than 30 markets now, I believe, across the US. And the interesting thing about it is most people want to focus on the income that you can generate from being an investor, which is great. But we also have another side to that coin, which is we want to help solve the affordability housing crisis one room at a time. So essentially what we're trying to do is take people that make $35,000 a year or less, which is about 14 million Americans, which is quite a bit, and help them find a place that they can stay where they actually work. A lot of times people work in restaurants, hotels, and they can't stay in the area where they work because there's just not enough options for them. So that's where PadSplit comes in. By opening your doors as an investor, you're actually helping people in your area. And I'm proud to say that over 70,000 people have been housed through PadSplit, 30,000 rooms have been created nationwide, and about $21 million plus in historic savings for members. So it's more than just a place, it's an actual place for them to get back on their feet, maybe save some money up, and eventually purchase their own place.
May I ask
Yeah.
another question? What is that 21 million?
So basically it's an approximate about how much people have saved just from being in
Recording is
PadSplit
correct.
versus like if they were
Recording
out
is
in a place on their own.
The actual
Recording is-
tenants.
Tenants and members, yeah.
And you call them members.
So this is probably the most important slide to pay attention to if you're an investor looking to do this. This is what the buy box looks like. If you're looking to do this in Tampa, ideally you want to get a 4-bedroom house, 2-bath, but 6 is more ideal as far as the rooms go. So you take a 4-bedroom house and you take away the common areas like a living room, maybe even the dining room if you have a big kitchen, and you convert those into additional bedrooms. So now you have 6 streams of income. And then you want to make sure you're doing more than just throwing up walls. You're not going to just throw up a wall or two and call it a day. You want to meet the local egress and permitting code, make sure you can pass inspection, and you do it the right way.
Who does the inspection?
Well, that would be something you would handle with the city. But, you know, in some cases, you can put up a wall or two and you may not have to do an inspection, but the point is, like, you want to be prepared in case it
Here's
doesn't.
the legal bedroom.
Yeah, make sure it's a legal bedroom, right. And the same thing, you gotta think about HVAC too. You know what I mean? If there's not a vent in that room, you want to create that. So there's a couple things to think about. And then bathrooms are very important. You know, the bath to bedroom ratio is going to affect your pricing, but also the people who are staying there.
Right.
We suggest 3 to 1. You can do 4 to 1, 4 rooms to 1 bathroom. But if you want to do it right, you want to do at least 3 bedrooms to 1 bathroom. Because if you do 4, you know, people are going to get a little, you know, friction, and they're probably not going to stay as long. We've just seen 3 to 1 work out better.
Does PadSplit determine the length of stay and do the contracts?
Yeah, it's basically you have to commit to at least 12 weeks as a member, and then from there you can leave whenever you want, unless you pay a flexibility fee of $175, then you can opt out earlier.
That's the member being the tenant.
Tenant, right? The member is the tenant, correct.
Okay.
And the goal behind doing PadSplit is, you know, as I mentioned earlier, we have the mission, which is part of it, but as an investor, if you're thinking about doing this, you're going to earn up to 2.5 times return on gross revenue, which is, you know, in this market, I mean, what else can you do that can give you that type of return? And then this is probably the slide that most people want to know about. What is the economics? What's the math? How much money can I make? And what you're looking at here is you've got a traditional single-family rental in Tampa in the zip code 33619. This is a 4.2. It's going to earn on average about $2,600 a month. You take that same house, same location, and as I mentioned earlier, convert it into a 6-bedroom PadSplit, and now you're going to be upwards of $6,000 a month in gross revenue.
But you've converted.
You've converted, right, from a
That's
4
the account,
to
the
a
money
6.
you spent to convert.
Exactly. And that's what I was about to say. So that's where I would pause and I would say, keep in mind, this is gross revenue. This isn't net operating income, right?
Right.
So you have to think about your renovation. You have to think about your taxes, you know, any utilities and PadSplit fees as well, which I'll go over in a second. But the return is quite high, even after all the expenses. So there's different ways that you can finance this, you know, as far as positioning your debt to maximize the deal. You could do a DSCR loan, you know, it underwrites primarily on property cash flow. I'm not a lender, so I'm not an expert on all this, but I want to make sure I give you the right information. And then conventional loans, you know, investors with strong personal income. Of course, if you're trying to do something quick and you got a lot of work to do, you could look at a hard money loan as well. But the one to pay attention to is the refinance play. You want to acquire, buy the property, convert it, complete the PadSplit renovation, stabilize it, get the property operating, get some money coming in, and then refinance based on the income that you can generate.
I'm not understanding that.
All right, so basically you get the property, convert it, you know, do the
As
renovation, and then you want to start getting the operating rooms leased. So you put it on the website, you start leasing it, and then what I'm saying is you can potentially go back and then refinance it based on the income
Oh,
you're
okay,
generating.
so you're saying first buy the property acquired, and then go ahead and refi.
After you've built up some,
After you've built up, or you've changed the appraised value of it by adding a couple extra bedrooms, adding some baths or whatever.
mhm.
Then you pull cash out?
Yeah, if you get the, now, this is all, you know, in theory, in essence, it depends on the lender and all that, of course. But the point is like after you've done the renovations and you have it up and running for 6 months, 12 months or so, you have income that you can show that this is producing. So, you know, might be able to get some refinancing play there.
But what about a 203K loan or something to that effect on the home that you might find? Let's say I find a 4-bedroom, I want to convert it into 6.
Right.
Why couldn't I take out a 203K loan to establish what I want to do with the property at the end of the day?
Well, you could.
As a possibility, right?
Yeah.
The interest would be lower than a hard money possibility, maybe?
Right, but I'm not saying to do the hard money per se, maybe if you're in a bind or something like that, but I'm just suggesting with the refinance play, you know, you don't have to do a hard money loan per se.
Right, okay. You acquire first,
Acquire first,
and
absolutely.
then build second. Okay.
So you might be thinking to yourself, Ted, it's great to earn revenue and, you know, make some money on this, but what about the headache that this could involve with having 6 tenants? And honestly, that's a fair question. But PadSplit does a lot to help you manage the property in the sense of being your partner with it. So we help you with the marketing and the listing. We do the screening and approval, so we do background checks. We make sure, you know, people don't have felonies in the last 7 years, they don't have evictions in the last 7 years. Rent collection, which I think is huge. We have a 97.5% collection rate. And, you know, if you think about it, if you were to rent out 6 individual rooms, then you'd have to collect payments from 6 different people, right? Exactly.
Sorry.
No, that's exactly.
I've been a property manager for 20 years. That would
Yeah, you know that,
I
right?
don't like that.
And then we do member support, 24/7 member support. And what's great about that is, you know, same thing with, you know, managing people or managing a property. You don't want to always have to answer simple questions. So let us help you do some of that. And then the average tenure is about 6 to 9 months that a member stays. I mean, I've
What
had
are they
people stay there for
supporting
years.
them? Are they supporting the tenant that's saying, I don't like this, and this tenant, blah, 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 blah? And, or what about if I buy into this and I was to do that, are they going to take care of maintenance as well, like if an air conditioning goes out?
No, because you're still the property
I'm still the
manager at
owner.
the end of the day, right? But as far as like the first scenario you gave, like general questions like this person's bothering me, their TV's loud or something like that, we'll step in and help assist with that. It's all on the platform though, so the property manager or the owner, who's ever the host, would be able to see all the conversations, and
So
we would
you're
loop you in.
managing the group of people that are sharing.
Right, and then of course, if it gets to a point where you have to bring in the host or who's ever managing the property, you would bring them in.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good feature.
So let's talk about real investors with real results, because there are people making actual money here. Ray and Oriana, our PadSplit hosts, they've grown their portfolio up to where they're making a combined $36,000 a month. Now, I'm not saying everyone's going to do that, obviously, it's just an example, but it gives you the ideas that if you did multiple, if you were to scale this and you did multiple PadSplits, you could really make some good income. And it's not just them that's doing it, we have over 1,600 hosts nationwide. In fact, one of the guys in the Tampa market has like, I think, a third of the listings on his own. So it's still early on where you could get involved, but you know, some people are doing this on a really big scale. We have 5,000 properties on the platform and over 32,500 rooms across PadSplit.
Is that across the United States?
It is, in the 30 different markets. We have what we call core markets, then we have PadSplit Anywhere, which would be places that are not yet defined as a core market, but that's mainly from the core markets. And this isn't, as I was saying in the slide before, this isn't just a theory, especially here in Tampa. I want to bring it home. It's already proven to work out in the Tampa Bay market. What I mean by that is the average occupancy right now is 87%, which is really strong when you think about that. And it's usually like 6 to 7 days to your first booking, and then within about 30 to 35 days, you'll have 80% occupancy. And then to give you an idea as far as the weekly rates, for a shared bathroom, the average rate in Tampa is about $200 a week. And then, as I mentioned, it's an active market. It's doing well in St. Pete, it's doing well in different parts of Tampa. I mean, we just looked before we jumped on. It's starting to pick up a little bit here in Wesley Chapel. There's some units there as well.
How do they advertise?
We spend over $1 million a month on advertising. We have 60 plus listing partners. So like think of Zillow and all these other places where we advertise to get people to come to the site. And the market timing is lining up because, as I mentioned at the beginning, the affordability housing crisis, there is a lot of pressure. People are being squeezed out of being able to rent. There is more rental competition. And then the income matters. Financing costs demand stronger returns. The bottom line is the fundamentals favor higher yield, professionally run rentals right now. There just isn't a lot of options out there for people in terms of being able to afford something relatively easy. And to get into a PadSplit, it's not that hard for a member's purpose, right? So you could spend $100, that covers your application and admin fee. You could be approved within as little as 2 hours and move in within as soon as 2 days.
How often do you recertify? Make sure they still qualify?
Who, what do you mean?
Like if they're there for however long, is there a point to where you make sure that they're still?
Oh, like if something had happened. That's a great question. I've never had someone ask that.
So like, yeah, you're saying like if it was a 12-week tenant or?
If they've been renting from a PadSplit for a year and you have to meet certain requirements in order to be able to rent from a PadSplit, well, how, like, are they ever recertified? Like, do they have to prove that they can still live there? Is there a time?
Is once a year or is
Maybe
like,
something
yeah,
happened to them,
right.
or
What if
they
there's
didn't
no-
qualify.
That's a
or-
great point.
Like,
Honestly,
what are the requirements to do that? And if you
Yeah.
lose those requirements, how does PadSplit know that? How do you check up on that?
right, that's a great point.
That's a really good point too.
And I'll be honest with you, I don't have an answer for that right now. I'll look into it though, but because a lot of it's like 6 to 9 months, so I don't think, I'm just thinking out loud, that they may not have a recertification process, but that's something we should probably look into because there are some people that have stayed there for beyond 12 months for several years.
Yeah, so what happens
You
if
have
it's not
requirements to, if you have to meet certain criteria to be able to be a PadSplit tenant, then, you know, just like your driver's license, once you get older, I mean, you really need to recertify that once in a while, or you don't meet the requirements and you shouldn't be driving.
Same
Just saying, you know.
Yeah, no,
it's
that's a great
By
point.
the time you got TBREIA members, we have some people that show up multiple times that are members, and it's not fair, so we need to make sure that we're making you know, it's just not fair to the other PadSplit tenants, or if
That's
something
true.
happens to.
Or something they just got into an issue and now we don't
Something.
know.
Just wondering, I think I asked Taylor that a long time ago, and I don't remember what she said then either. I don't think she had an answer on it.
Well, and the other question I have on that is, let's say a person does a 9-month agreement, does PadSplit move them around if they need to? And
Yeah, they can move to a
But
different
if,
house.
once they move, then they probably do recertification at that point.
Not necessarily, because they've already been approved, but I see what you're saying, you know.
Trying
if
to
you're
match
moving
them
to-
up,
What's that?
because they're trying to match them up.
Yeah. No, I got you. That's a good point, you know, we probably should look into recertifying because things change obviously all the time. So I would think at least after a year, you'd have a recertification process.
And this is the question is, it's an excellent concept, but at the same time, if there's those little tweaks.
Yeah.
And I know from dealing with tenants all day long.
Well, no, this is great feedback. I love it because, you know, you don't think about everything, you know what I mean?
No, of course not, I mean, there's always something more, right? Just ask AI.
Hey, I'll shut you.
Because they'll
Don't go
keep you up-
there.
They'll keep you up till 3 in the morning asking you
Yeah.
questions to think about.
Always has an answer. It's the problem.
No, go ahead,
Yeah,
sorry.
No, you're good, Deborah.
Yeah. Oh,
Now,
I love the concept, and so, yeah, I'm excited to hear about it, so go ahead.
yep, so, and basically how to get started is, number one, you wanna run the numbers, look at properties. We have a calculator on our website, that's the link there, and of course afterwards, if you have any questions, we could talk about it. I set up a time, but basically you wanna run the numbers, talk to your team, your local team, that would be myself. And then, you know, list your first rooms. PadSplit, as we talked about, handles a lot of the marketing, the screening, and member support, and then scale it up. What we have found is that nearly half the property owners who become repeat PadSplit hosts, they list additional rooms within a year.
Let me ask you, Debbie, can I give you a scenario?
Yeah.
Okay, so I have 4 units that say in Gulfport. Right now, half of them are short term, 2 of them are short term, the other 2 are long term,
Right.
okay? Already on. Now, altogether, there are 2 ones, so I have 4 2-1s.
So basically 8-4.
On one parcel, right?
Okay, yeah.
Okay, would I take that one parcel, if I wanted just to convert it to a PadSplit,
Mm-hmm.
but they're small, because they're only like 768 cottages in Gulfport. The people are paying like $1,500 for a room these days, just to live in a room in Gulfport.
Right.
Because of the desirability of the area. So let's just imagine that I have those 4,
Right.
okay, and after season comes and the short-term rental period goes, and I wanna convert them all into PadSplit. Would they look at my individual 4 units as one property?
No, it'd be like A, B, C, D. You know what I'm saying? It would split
So
up as 2.
I could take one of, even though they're one parcel
Yeah,
on the property tax rolls, right? It's like
Okay.
4 units, right?
right.
So I could take 2 of them and convert them into PadSplits, then I'd have 2.
And then you have 2 short-term.
Sure.
Well, that's an interesting one because what we prefer to do is have everything under PadSplit. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
But they're separate units. So
there's 4 cottages, one
Yeah.
parcel, 2 ones.
That's an interesting one. I'm pretty sure you could do it that way, because the way you're suggesting, because they're individual units. I have people, for example, that I've listed that are in a similar situation like that, and they've had previous renters, and they do have to convert to PadSplit, but yours are 4 separate units, so you'd be able to do that.
Right, but what I want to get on 2 ones, to have 2 people share an 800 square foot cottage?
I mean, you could. I mean, you would do single rooms, but I'll be honest with you, if you're in Gulfport, you might make more as a short-term rental. With PadSplit, where you start making a lot of money.
Yeah, but the short-term rental market is getting much stricter in that area, so
I
that's
got
what
you.
I'm saying. Yeah, I'm looking for a transition.
Yeah, let me run the numbers on Gulfport. I mean, it's tough to say, because I always tell people, if you're just doing a 2-1, you might be able to do more just on your own. Usually with PadSplit, you make the most money is like several bedrooms under 1 unit.
Well, and you're talking about 8
And 4.
bedrooms and 4, so they in 4, but who's paying the utilities on each one of those?
That's what I'm saying. You would be paying them, because
Right.
when the
So it'd be
PadSplit
like
member
the
pays.
short-term rentals, the two of them are short-term rentals, 2 of them are annuals.
Right.
So they have separate water meters, separate electric. So
So
basically, I'd be looking at having to pay the utilities in a PadSplit model, right?
you would, exactly. And there would be, that
So
the
I'd have to
renters,
cost that in.
the members would pay 1 payment. And so that's why I'm saying, like, I don't know if it would, like, be cost
Talk to
effective.
me about that later, because that might be an interesting way to transition out of that particular parcel.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, okay, go ahead.
Got a
Yeah.
question for you. Okay, I was just thinking, kitchens, do you have a, like, number you'd like to keep it to? Do you only want so many rooms per kitchen? Or?
It comes down really more to the refrigerator. That's a great question. So like, if you got like 4 people sharing a refrigerator, that could work. But once you get 5, 6, or 7, you're better off just putting mini fridges in the bedrooms.
Got it. So you don't look at it by kitchen, you look at it by fridge. Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, I walked the property with this family in Tampa, and they had like I mean, it was a fridge, but it was like kind of a smaller one, and I was like, you're probably gonna have to get a bigger fridge.
With a
Because,
little freezer top.
Yeah, a little tiny freezer
Like
top.
the 5 foot I have in my garage, or the 4 foot, yeah.
yeah, it was just a little too small, and they understood, you know what I mean? Because you just want it to be, interesting thing about PadSplit is like, it's not necessarily a hospitality play, but at the same time, you want it to be comfortable enough to where they want to stay there for as long as they can until they need to move on. So that's why having some amenities is good, but some people overdo it. You don't need to put TV in every room, for example. You just need to have the necessities, like a bed, a nightstand, small dresser, and that's pretty much it.
But
Or
you're
desk.
still sharing living room space. It's like a boarding house situation.
It is like a
So you're sharing living room space, yet there's
No
really
living room.
concentrated on the
No living room.
kitchen.
Yeah, you want to eliminate the
There's
living room.
no
Oh.
common area except for the kitchen and the bathrooms and the laundry.
And the
I
laundry.
understand
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, well, you
That's where
could
you get
keep
the
a,
extra space from.
yeah, that's where you get the extra rooms from. You could do a dining room, but I've seen it work both ways, where some people take away the dining room and they turn that into a bedroom too, and then they'll have like an island or something with 3 or 4 stools, because not everyone in the house is going to eat at the exact same time, so you don't have to have a big dining room or anything like that. But yeah, you want to convert those common areas into additional bedrooms so you can make more money.
Common area being.
Living room, dining room, you could even look at a
But you
garage.
just said not the living room, right?
No,
You're
you
talking
do
about
want to
conversion.
you want to convert the living room. Because another reason why you don't want a living room is, let's say I'm a tenant and you're a tenant, I bring someone over and they sleep on the couch. That's not a good experience for
So
someone.
you're fighting over what you're gonna watch on TV, like in the.
Exactly.
in the-
So you eliminate that friction, and of course, everyone has their own room, their own lock on their door, so they can, have their own space.
Do they have a common kitchen?
Yeah,
That's what you're talking about.
That's
Common
what I was
kitchen.
mentioning,
Okay.
yeah.
And a common laundry,
common laundry, yeah.
okay. Go ahead.
So yeah, all right. And then that's pretty much it. The buy box is clear, the math works, Tampa Bay is ready. Basically the only question is, are you?
Do you have,
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we're gonna go back with more people so you can practice in a bigger crowd.
Yes.
But I want to be educated too, so. that-
Yeah, this is perfect, Deborah.
But the question I'm asking right now is, what's the brain fog? What's the one? Okay, no, not about that. Okay, common living room, it's a common, oh yeah. How about testimonials and or instances of where it's working in Tampa? Do you have examples of
Oh, I can
homes
tell you,
that are
Greg.
already redone?
Yeah.
Greg, who owns TBREIA, and Jeremy, his partner, they have 7 different PadSplits right now.
Mhm. Cause I like visuals.
Every one of their properties that is in their portfolio right now is a PadSplit, and they're all, like, I've been in them, I've walked them.
Yeah, okay.
Yep, and that they got rid of all theirs in regular rentals, and that's their entire portfolio of PadSplits. They had one 2-story house right over by 275 and Del Mabry. It is 12 bedrooms, it's a massive house.
Can you do like a communal bathroom almost at some point?
But they have, that one has 1, 2, 3 bathrooms in it. The
I'm
kitchen's
just-
okay, that one actually.
I'm
has-
thinking out loud, can you almost run it like a dorm room from college, where
Well,
you have like
that's-
communal bathroom?
Right, that's
I
what
mean,
you're
that's
saying.
the idea, the bathrooms are shared, each door has a number and a lock, like a little.
I'd like to see a visual.
Lock.
Yeah, I'll get you some visuals. I mean, I have some on my phone. I walked the house with a guy. He had a house that was in a fire, tore it down, built it up, 9-bedroom, 4-bathroom house.
I think
over by
that'd be
Busch
good in a
Gardens.
presentation because
Okay,
I'm a very visual person.
yeah,
So if I can actually see a concept of.
And they're all different, they all look different. It depends
Yeah,
on
but
the
if I
house
had
that
like
you're
6,
starting
if
with.
I was
no,
six
examples. I got you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
right?
no, that's a great
Because I'm
point.
trying to conceptualize it from what you're
Yeah. You
telling
guys still do
me.
walkthroughs of?
Oh,
I feel
yeah.
like they're walkthroughs of.
You-
So I can do that,
Yeah.
but then
And I'll
time
think-
constraint too.
No,
But I
you're
think
right.
your
I'll get you some
presentation-
visuals.
I think for your presentation, having visuals of what an
100%.
interior looks like, or even a small little video of a walk around.
Or
I don't
walk
know.
around. Yeah.
I like the idea, I think where it works best, it sounds like you guys kinda got it down, is get everybody to go to the room as much as possible.
Right, because
I
I
mean,
mean,
because
it's
That's kind of
friction.
person
It prevents all the friction, yeah, because I mean, that's what I remember from college, like, you just, you got the
Like,
laptop
sorry, I
up, you
mean,
watch
yeah.
your TV.
College dorm,
and-
right?
Yeah,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
that's the best way to do it.
So I'm a flipper. Right now I'm flipping houses. So when I'm looking at a lead, so what is the minimum square footage I need to look at, and number wise, sorry,
For a room, for a bedroom, or for a
no,
house?
for the house.
For the house minimum square foot?
Yeah, because I know like it needs to be close to public transportation and all. I understand that, but what is the minimum house, like the characteristics of the house that I need to look at, and also like legal issues, like are there any known compliance issues with the city of Tampa that the hosts have to convert it back to regular housing?
There's not any legal issues that I'm aware of. Again, I've been there for a couple months, so I'll look into it a little bit more. But from what I know in Florida, it's pretty flexible. And a lot of cities are being more flexible with it because they
They need
realize
affordable housing.
they need affordable housing. They don't have a solution. The government doesn't have a solution. And then for the square footage, you could do a 3.2 or a 4.2. I've been looking at some that have to be, I'm thinking in my mind, at least 1,500 square feet, but it really depends on the layout. At least 1,400, 1,500 square feet or higher. But it just depends on the layout, honestly. Because like, if you you open your front door and you walk in and the living room's right here and it's connected to the kitchen and that, it might be hard. You'd have to create a hallway. So it just kind of depends on the layout. If it's separated more, you know what I mean? Then it might be easier to do it in a smaller house. But I seen a guy, we had a sales summit in Orlando, and it was not even maybe 1,800 square feet or less, and he put 9 bedrooms in there.
That seems so tight though.
It is
9
tight.
bedrooms in 1,800.
Yeah, the minimum, it could be 18 to 2,000, something around it, but it wasn't very big, you know.
And
And he took converted
they
garage
like
too.
little single beds in each room, or?
It's kind of
Yeah, they're all about, you want them to be like full size at least, but the minimum square footage for a bedroom is 80 square feet, but ideally you'd want to be at least 100 square feet. So either 8 by 10 or 10 by 10 would be ideal.
Per bedroom.
Per bedroom, right.
Yeah, so if you're gonna divide like a large living room, and you can make it 2 8x10s with a dividing wall,
Right.
with a little foyer or a hallway that goes to that living room space, say no contemporary franchise, I'm picturing that.
And you want to make sure it has, like I said earlier, the right egress in that, like a window, a
Yeah, you
door,
have to
obviously,
be wrong,
you know, stuff like that. Just be mindful of that.
I think the only time Greg and Jeremy had an issue with any kind of inspection, Jay, they just took the numbers off the doors, and then after the inspection was done, they just put the numbers back on. That was really the biggest thing that they had, I think.
Yeah, try to pull down like a temporary wall or anything?
No, the hot guy was saying that at the last one, he was like, you could take the wall and take it down,
And
like,
me and you-
that sounds so simple.
Yeah, I know, me and you were like joking, I'm like, what do you do, like, run it down the fire escape? Like, you got this wall.
Go with the inspection, take the wall
And
down.
who's doing the inspection, the people that are giving you a CO for the property?
Say that again, the people who are bringing.
Who's inspecting?
Well, that's
Usually
if somebody
county.
calls on you
Yeah.
or
I
something.
mean, in order to get your CO for see, you need to get a certificate of occupancy, right?
Right.
No, why do you need certificate?
On a
of occupancy?
multifamily, you would.
Yeah, on a
Not in a
multifamily,
single family.
Not
No, that's what I'm saying,
Single
that's what I'm
family.
saying, on a single family, you wouldn't need it, so when you say during the inspection, who's
it's
doing
on,
the
I guess what I
inspection?
should restate that, is like,
Yeah.
if there is an inspection, if somebody
There's not
calls
always
on
an
your house or
inspection.
something like that, if they come and look into your house, but typically, like I was telling him, it's very flexible. and
It's
forward.
not a PadSplit inspection.
No,
It's
sorry about that, yeah, I didn't-
compliance.
So, how often is it, I would assume, if it ever randomly happens, it's probably because someone gets annoyed about the parking situation.
That's what I was gonna say, that's what my next thing is, when you're looking for a pad split,
Yeah.
you don't wanna be in like a real nice neighborhood, obviously, because you
You
don't
don't
wanna be in a
call
terrible
them
neighborhood.
stacked.
You just kinda wanna be like kind of in between. If you drive down the street and people are parking on the side of the road, that's probably a good
Well,
place
also
to
it's a
be.
compliance issue too, you have to know how many parking spaces can be zoned into a certain area.
And also,
Right.
there's a lot of pad split tenants, a good majority of them
That
do
don't
not
have
have
cars.
vehicles,
Yeah,
which is why they need to be in a good walking area that's close to stuff, because,
Right.
I mean, we do get some parking emails, like I get the emails that come through with the maintenance requests and things, and very rarely is it
And that's
about
part of
parking.
the
And if
screening
it
process.
is, it's about a car that's not supposed to be there, like a guest or something that's really not supposed to be there.
Got it,
Oh,
We don't
man,
have a lot of
it's the
parking
opposite of what I thought then.
issues, and most of them don't have cars.
yeah.
Okay.
got it.
yeah, about, it depends on the market, but it's like about 50%, right, something
Do
like
you
that.
market to like the groups and the government groups and central, not government groups,
Section
but
A or
local,
something?
that are looking at affordability housing crisis, like the groups that are happening, like I belong to a certain couple of groups that are discussing options for affordability housing.
Okay.
Do you have any influence, not influence, but you know what I'm trying to say, is that has PadSplit in and of itself encouraged you to speak to organizations that are looking for solutions for affordability housing on a local level?
Yeah, they're getting involved, that's part of my job, is to get involved with like the local governments and stuff.
Mhm.
Like in markets where we're launching it, like in Seattle, Sacramento, Portland, they have really good relationships with the local governments there. Every area is different, obviously, depending on,
Mhm.
you know, what the situation is. But yeah, that's something I'm gonna have to look into some more and get more familiar with, because, so if you have any resources, definitely
Oh,
share.
I mean, there's a ton coming up, like every single day.
Yeah.
I'm on websites.
I was just
for
at, I was at a
affordable
marketing
housing.
event and I was talking to a lady, and she was talking about like, she helps people that, you know, trying to get back on their feet. And so I'm gonna give her literature and stuff like that, so I'm trying to network with
Well,
more
for
groups like that.
example, I mean, I was just renting out a house from one of my investment properties, and it's a ADU, and it's also got a 2-bedroom, 1 bath, 1 electric meter, 1 water meter, okay,
Uh-huh.
in the Tyrone area. However, what I ended up finding out was somebody who contacted me from the VA, it's a special organization, they're looking to place their veterans in to housing, and they pay the rents up front to the landlord.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I should connect you with her, because they keep a database of people that they can connect, but their thing is, they have to have the right address, you have to have the right smoke detector. They do
Same.
their own initial inspection of the house.
Oh, okay, I see.
But they are a resource of tenants.
Yeah, that would be great, definitely.
So that would be great to contact her, but you also need the owner of that house, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, or if
Or
they have a
not.
property manager, you know what I mean? I mean, you could even.
How
do-
would that help you?
How would it help me?
Yeah, how would it help you if I told you, her name's Keisha, if I could tell you Keisha is constantly looking, she contacted me because she's trying to place a vet, and she's gonna give me, she's gonna guarantee me 6 months rent, she's gonna guarantee me, because the program pays 6 months rent, it pays upfront the security deposit, it pays all the tenant screening, all
Right,
things, but they pre-qualify the vet.
I see.
the VA.
I mean, it could be helpful if they don't have a place anywhere else to go, obviously, then they could look at a PadSplit, but we don't take deposits, they still have to do the background checks through PadSplit and that sort of thing, so I don't know if it would be,
I don't know, that's what I'm trying to say, is there a marriage of any kind in there?
I don't know, I'd have to
Yeah.
look into it a little bit more, but
Yeah.
it's possible, I mean, it's like I told the lady that was looking into this too, she's just trying to help people out, she wanted literature, I'm like, I'll get you some literature, but
But you're doing the marketing for the tenants, so really, it's kind of like what she's doing in the sense of, for the veterans.
right,
So it's kind of parallel.
it is a little bit, you're right, and
Yeah,
I deal with
I know.
more on the investor side, but
Right.
I can look into see what the members and that sort of
Yeah,
thing.
but I don't think it is, I think it's more parallel in that example. I think it's like, when she reached out to me, it's because I advertised on Zillow, I said what I had, and then she said, would you be willing to accept? And they're not Section 8, but they're VA funded.
I got you, okay.
Yeah, so that's kind of the opposite
Yeah,
avenue.
They-
Uh-huh.
yeah, I mean, from what you're saying, it could
I don't
work, but I don't think it's like the
No, it
best.
doesn't seem like it is, no.
Yeah, I got you.
No, where your best interest is in, so your goal is to get people to sign up as hosts for PadSplit.
Right, investors.
That's okay. So therefore, me as an investor would sign up for PadSplit because I could convert some of my properties, and or him as a flipper,
Right,
you can go and look for houses because, but you're not gonna buy and hold. You're looking to flip.
No, because Tampa as you were saying, like long-term rental, it doesn't work out, but PadSplit numbers will work.
Then it changes the flip
Yes.
situation to.
I can get into buy and
Buy
hold.
and hold.
Yes.
Right,
Buy and hold,
right,
yeah.
right,
You kind
right.
of run the numbers on if short-term rental or PadSplit works better, right?
yeah, and
That's-
honestly,
But short-term rental restrictions are getting so high.
And saturation
Short-term rentals are
regulations.
struggling.
They're struggling. I
And-
mean, I've lost like 40% of my business ever since.
Yeah, yeah.
Whenever I went. But you know what
We
I'm
just don't
saying?
know, like,
Yeah,
ca-
yeah.
cities and counties can just change the rules tomorrow.
exactly, that's the biggest thing with short-term rentals, and a lot of them
Yeah.
are seasonal and stuff, and it's just, and your turnover is more often, right? So,
Yeah, my friend's
More
short-term
wear and
rental's
tear.
been vacant for 4 months.
Yeah, I mean,
It went from being booked for a
it
year
had
to
its heyday.
nothing for 4 months.
Yeah, mine
And-
had their heyday and now everything.
and that's what's great about PadSplit getting in now, is because it is working in Tampa, it's doing very well, but it's still in the early stages in a sense, because like, if you were gonna do Airbnb like, you know, back in the day, that's when the time to do it, but PadSplit, it's just starting to take off, you know what I mean?
Right, well, also,
great time.
because it's a combination of, a short-term rental is still needed, but the restrictions of what's going on with the cities is ridiculous, right?
Yeah.
Because I had Reddington Beach, can't do it anymore, I had Gulfport, can't do it anymore. I mean,
Wow.
it's just like St. Pete, had happened in St. Pete, people are doing them, but legally,
Right,
you know, one of my, friends just got fined $36,000
oh, wow.
for having a short-term rental in St. Pete.
Well, yeah, but they should have known, you know,
Because it was
yeah.
under 30-day rental, because it didn't meet the requirements, now they're building software to do that kind of stuff, so that it can report people.
Right,
So, this is much more this is much better of a solution than
Oh, I
short-term
agree.
rental.
yeah,
It's a way better because it's all within legal constraints and it brings in a good return,
yeah.
even though you're still holding the electric, the
I guess
utilities.
the only thing it kind of knocks out is, I know some people talk about the idea of like a vacation spot.
Mhm.
They use their short-term rentals and then they go there when,
Oh, yeah,
You
you
throw
can't
out two
really
or three
use
weeks
it,
out of the year.
you can't
You can't
use
do
it
both.
both, you can't do both.
No,
You're
you
right.
can't do
that's
both.
the only group I think maybe it knocks out, yeah.
So my question is, so what type of people generally look into PadSplit? Is it
Good
just
question.
the people working in the services industry, or any other category of people usually look for?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
people,
the demographics.
the demographics, is people are making about 35,000 a year or less, so you can kind of imagine, hospitals can be pretty good, because not necessarily obviously the doctors and even nurses per se, but like the other people that work there, CNAs and housekeepers and stuff like that. That's kind of your target audience is gonna be, because like around Busch Gardens area is good, that's a service area. Around hospitals can be pretty good, but surprisingly, it can be good, but it can't be good, depends on the students, you know what I mean? Some people would think, oh, students would be great, but not necessarily because they already have dorm rooms, right? And that sort of thing, so unless they're in a college town where they don't have that
It's more
stuff.
the service industry that's
Yeah, it's more the
squeezed
service.
out of everything, like all of my waitresses who used to be able to afford to live in my community can no
They can't
longer
live in
live
the
there.
community,
So they
right?
have to go somewhere and they're scared to death because now they're $1,800 rent for their little
And you gotta
place.
usually have a good credit score, and you gotta pay the last month's rent, so it's usually 2 or 3 times the amount of monthly rent.
I mean,
That's
there's a
why
huge population of demographics, I would imagine. They
there is
live
14 million.
And,
Yeah.
and more so because look at all the people that are becoming homeless just because of a little glitch of, you know,
Right.
little whatever. So as long as they have income, so what are the criteria for,
So we don't do a credit check, but we do an income verification to make sure they can afford the weekly rent or bi-weekly rent. We tie it to their paycheck, so they're more likely to pay on time. But like, let's say they're making $500 a week and the rent's $300, they're not gonna get approved for that, right? They gotta be able to clear it at a pretty reasonable rate.
okay, what other criteria?
You know, you gotta be, like I talked about the background checks, 7 years or less, no evictions. You can't have any felonies in the last 7 years.
What about sexual registry?
Wouldn't that count as a
That's a good
felony?
question. That would be a
Yeah, because
felony,
it's
though.
more like a community, right? Like if an
But
incident
that
happens.
would be under felony though.
Yeah, it'd be under felony.
Yeah, but they're only checking for 7. You need to go more than that for
Oh,
that.
you mean after 7 years? And also, I'm thinking about, like, the criteria for
Also,
matching
it should be
up
national
roommates, they
wide,
don't do that.
not like only.
They don't, like I've done shared rental housing before,
Okay,
so what that means
No,
is
for
if
sexual
I
offenders,
match
they need
the
to register.
roommates,
yeah.
not that. So
Once
what
they
it's
move,
trying
they
to
have to
say
register
is,
locally.
in the rental agreements, there's certain things about, actually, it's not, right, because it's more like dorm.
It's more like a
boarding
dorm, yeah,
house.
I don't think that's.
It's more like a boarding house
Right.
situation. So they're not taking into account who's moving in, they're taking into account, do they have money?
Mm-hmm,
Do they have income?
yeah,
Prove your income, no credit score, no
right.
credit check, what else qualifies the tenant? And what protects me as a landlord,
As a landlord,
as
well,
the owner?
you know, I would say the biggest things protecting you is that they have some stability as far as income coming in. Your biggest play is the income. Because if they can't afford it, then why, you don't want them there, right? You don't want short-term people there, you want them to stay for 6 to 9 months.
What
at
are my
least.
eviction possibilities and under what kind of legal agreements am I facing if that tenant,
Stops paying?
oh yeah, or decides to do crack in the bedroom or something?
Right, well, then you would terminate the agreement with PadSplit, but ultimately, that part would come down to the
It
homeowner.
would be the owner still.
Right, because we can't legally do that, we don't own the house.
But wait, my understanding was as a owner, they will lease the whole house to the PadSplit.
Correct,
Uh-huh.
but
So PadSplit will manage the members.
they
They
would
will
manage the
screen
members, sure,
and
but
put them there, vacate them. No?
they would manage the members, but when it comes to certain things, like, we're not the physical owner of the house, so we can't handle the eviction process legally.
The property manager can do it, so why can't PadSplit do?
It's the way the agreement's written up. I don't know exactly why that we per
So is
se,
there a
but
double agreement? I mean, is there a PadSplit agreement between that and the member? And an agreement between me, the owner, or my property man?
yeah, they sign the terms and conditions, the member, but there's a lease that you would sign as the host, or the homeowner or property manager or whoever would sign with PadSplit.
Is it a template lease that PadSplit provides, or I have to buy my own lease?
No, the lease is with PadSplit, but you would see it and
Because I'm
everything.
leasing the house.
You're leasing the house, and then we're renting out the members.
It's very good with economics. It's when I've been doing this 25 years, so I can think of all kinds of different kinds of situations. 80% good, 20% probably rotten, right? You know, in
Yeah,
terms of
but the
tenants.
thing about evictions is what I would say is that the numbers support PadSplit in the sense that nationally with rentals, it's about 8% eviction, but with PadSplit, it's about 1.3%.
Okay.
So, and part of that is because you're managing the expectations, you're doing member support, and if you're a good host or a good, you're communicating with them effectively, you can prevent a lot of things from happening.
Yeah. No, I
But it's still a valid concern. It's just like any
it's-
other real estate that you're doing, you could deal with evictions as
I
well.
would just want
You
to know
just
what
have
my
somebody for
liability is.
evictions. Do you just have like someone you call when you have evict somebody? I mean, you said you passed, but does that happen?
I don't know if the guys have ever had to do
No?
an eviction on there, but it's like a it's not PadSplit's responsibility, PadSplit's managing your members,
No,
not,
no, I know,
not
but
a property management company.
what I mean is though, as a property manager, you just call somebody who specializes in that, like, and
I
you
mean,
charge it
I
yourself.
know a couple of eviction
And then there's
experts
eviction
because
plus
they've been doing it for
off,
so long.
$500, but you have to, it's all depending on the wording of the lease.
And most investors, I think, don't start off with PadSplits. I mean, they might, but I would imagine if you are renting properties, you are familiar that you're probably gonna have to do an eviction at some point, you know how to handle the process, so.
Yeah, it's been a long time, it has.
I mean, that's something you should know if you're gonna be a landlord in any capacity.
Yeah. When I did long-term rentals, I had to deal with that.
But it's another layer is what I'm saying, because
Yeah.
there's two contracts, there's
I was
my
just curious.
contract, and then there's the contract with PadSplit with the members.
Right. They
That's
have,
one agreement.
no,
Legally, now I wanna get that tenant out of there, let's pretend.
right.
That's a scenario, right? So we have a great little working relationship, there's 8 people in the house. One of them starts doing crack and bringing in a friend into the house to do whatever, as an example.
Right.
Yeah, so
I'm the
PadSplit
owner.
fires the tenant. so
Okay,
They, PadSplit fires the tenant, that tenant's
Terminate
no
the
longer to be a
agreement.
member of PadSplit. The
Oh,
property
okay.
owner
Uh-huh.
then fires the tenant and kicks their ass out.
so it's a partnership
Yes.
of removing the tenant. Because there's a protection with, because they're a member,
Well-
they're signing something that says PadSplit.
Yeah,
Hey,
you're
you're out
the
of
person
here.
that owns the house has to take care of removing them from the property.
Yeah.
But then that
That's
person, I would
the case.
imagine PadSplit terminates and that member cannot be,
You can't not use
it
password.
can't be,
And there's a rating system too, so, you know, there's some built-in things that would, not prevent them, but would likely prevent them from doing something really bad, but it could still happen, you're right,
It happened, I mean, it's still, you're dealing with lower income
for sure.
people that need this kind of a space, and I'm always looking at like legalities and liabilities.
Right,
I love the model of the return, and I like the model of affordability housing, because there's a lot of really good, well-meaning people that can use this.
yeah,
But then where am I as the owner going to be?
well, similar to
Like you
like,
were saying about the sexual trafficking, for example, you know, I'm not the trafficking, but the
Sexual offenders registry.
I mean, we can't even get Epstein files open.
I saw the guy, I was driving by,
Yeah.
I saw the guy with that sign, he was walking around with some Epstein files. The guy was really protesting on the way here. Smile.
But no, Ted, I think it's a fabulous concept, that you come up with a great, organization that's cutting edge, but they've got some experience behind it.
Yeah, yeah.
I just am going to always be the one to dig and dig and dig.
No, that's,
You know, with my brain
Yeah.
to figure out what my due diligence is. But that comes from years of not asking the right questions.
yeah.
You know, and making mistakes, and I've made some, you know, over time. But I really love the model, but I just wanna see where the errors could be, you know.
I got you.
if
Yeah.
I owned it. I think it's great. Now, PadSplit though, so I sign up with you as, okay, let's pretend the cottages, we're gonna analyze
Yeah,
the
yeah.
cottages. So I sign up with you guys.
Mhm.
You're gonna start filling my rooms, basically that's it. Are you going to look at my rooms, are you going to decide?
They have to have pictures, and so there's like a checklist when you start the listing, similar like short, you know, when you do short-term rental, you
Yeah.
create your listing, and then we have a team that inspects the listing to make sure, like, for example, somebody sent a picture before, they had a window, no, they didn't have the window, they had to show the door, the entrance to the room, but there was no window in there.
Yeah, no egress.
So, no egress, so then you get kicked back and it doesn't get approved until you have the picture with the window in there.
Mhm.
So little things like that,
Anybody needs
and there's a
window.
checklist, like you gotta have
Mhm.
the fire extinguisher, you gotta
Fire-
do smoke detector, so some of those things like, yeah, we do check that, but we don't do a property inspection, we don't physically walk out there.
You don't prove it, but it's a checklist of what needs to be there. So
Right.
it's like, yeah.
We have a pretty good onboarding process, you know,
For the member.
for the host.
No, for the host,
Yeah.
excuse me. And then the onboarding for the member is no credit check, income verification, and background check.
And background and screening, but the other thing is, you can do background and screening through PadSplit, but you also have the option where we do the background screening, and then we can give you 24 hours where you can do your own screening of that person if you want to, and you can accept or deny
That's what I was gonna ask, can I have a conversation then with
Yeah.
that member
before they move in.
to
Yeah.
get a sense of it? What about animals and pets?
It's like everything else, I mean, you can create your house rules, but if somebody has that, you know, support thing, you don't have a, you kinda have to accept it.
What about age limits and children?
There's not really an age limit, I mean, the children, that's an interesting one, because we've talked about this before, it's possible, but it's not likely that you're gonna wanna put your kid in that situation, you know?
But if I'm a mother with an income and I
Yeah.
have a child all of a sudden.
You can
I'm
have, two people can share a room, so you could do that, you know, if you wanted to do it that way, I guess, yeah.
Well, there's gonna be a lot of situations coming up as the economy changes and things
Sure,
come up. There's
yeah.
gonna be a great need for this, but these are the holes that people could fall into in
Right.
terms of, are there rules within PadSplit when they're interviewing them and saying, I want a room that I happen to be a career, you know, I'm a mom that makes $30,000 a year, husband's just gone, or whatever, right?
Right.
And I got a 3-year-old, can I bring them into this room?
Into this room,
That's gonna
ultimately,
qualify.
yeah, that I have to double check, but from what I understand is there's no rule against it per se, but if someone has a house rule that says no children, I guess then that would eliminate that person
Mhm.
from being able to rent there, but, we had an interesting one where someone had, a layout where you had a room here and you had a room connected to it. And you can only get to that room by going through that
Yeah,
door,
that's
right?
wrong,
So
yeah.
then we were talking about like, well, maybe a kid could live there, and then we were thinking out loud, like, well, was that the best environment? But technically, I guess you could.
Mhm. Yeah, to me, it always comes down to the law, and it comes down to liability, law and liability,
Law
you
and
know?
liability, yeah.
Yeah, so then from there, I can open my doors to whatever, right? If I know that I'm kind of compliant, then I feel safe about it. But I think that if it's looked at as a roommate situation, the owner's ultimately liable.
Right, ultimately.
But PadSplit is your networking component. PadSplit is the one that's gonna fill the rooms to give me the income by pre-qualifying my members,
Right,
right?
yeah.
And then when they're gone, I'm still a host, and PadSplit's still gonna be with me.
Right, and yeah, one thing we didn't cover, I wanna make sure I cover it now that we're talking about it, is you got 2 fees, right? So you got you got the hosting, it's like a finder fee, if you will, the
Mhm.
first 10 days of a renter moves in. So you got your cottages, I find you a renter, the first 10 days, PadSplit collects 100% of that person's rent. And then after that, the service fee kicks in and it's just 8%.
So I'm paying like a property manager, I'm paying 8% after I pay 100% of the.
First 10 days.
The first member's agreement. So if the member's paying $1,000 for the room, I'm paying $1,000 and then 8% every month thereafter, well, or every week thereafter.
Yeah, just the first 10 days of their
Just,
coming there, period.
Oh, just the first 10 days, I'm
yeah, the
thinking
booking
annual.
fee, the booking fee is the first 10 days, and then after that, it's 8% is the
10
service fee.
days, 10 days, that was
Yeah.
an annual.
Yeah, no, it's just the first 10 days of their stay,
That's not
period.
bad, no,
Hmm.
I really like this model, I think it's really needed.
We'll definitely let your investors know and send them our way.
Anything else? You got anything?
I'm good.
Well, this was great, man. This was, put me on the spot. I love it. Great conversation.
I appreciate you. Small crowd, doesn't mean it's a bad crowd, but small.
No, a lot of great questions.
We'll have you speak again.
No,
And I'll
that's a good
have-
one.